Welcome, everybody. I'm here with our first interview from one of our amazing community members, Avtomat. Avtomat, welcome to the
Hello.
stream, and thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm a WW2 collector. Of course, I play games. I don't know how it started, mainly because I played a lot of history and war theme games with my dad, and of course movies as well. I got into collecting a few years ago, 2 or 3 now. The first item I actually didn't buy, but found. It's a shell casing from World War II. It's a Soviet machine gun casing. I found it in the forest. I went home, looked it up what it was. It was just very interesting. So yeah, and since then I spent most of my pocket money on this.
Oh, it looks like you've got a great collection there. It'll be great to sort of maybe just sort of talk about some of the items that you've got. I mean, you mentioned there obviously the Soviet machine gun shell. Maybe have you got any other Soviet items in there?
Yes, I think one of the most interesting or most visually interesting is this piece of submachine gun, the PPSH-41, which is of course featured in Hell Let Loose as well, since it is one of the most known World War II guns ever. As you can see, this was blown up or maybe shot with something. Maybe it was hit by shrapnel because this part will be like this long. Actually, it was the whole receiver top. Here it was the same part, but something hit it and it curved up really brutally. And it's actually like a very thick steel as well. So that definitely had some tremendous power, whatever hit it. This piece was found near Budapest, where I live. There were pretty brutal fights here in 1945. It was probably lost then as well. Um, this is another piece that can be known from Hell Let Loose. This is the magazine for the same gun. It was found close to me as well. Both are dug up condition, but I think it gives off a very cool vibe, I think, especially with this piece. I have a few medals. This one was awarded for taking part in the war against Germany. Uh, it's a very common one, but I think it's very cool. Every Soviet soldier who survived the war and fought and was still in service in 1945 was awarded. Another medal is for the Battle of Berlin, of course, with a date on the back, 2nd of May 1945. This is also a very common medal, but I think it is good. This could be known from Hell Let Loose as well for the players. This is a clip for the Mosin gun with some dummy rounds in it. As you can see, there are holes in it. These were used for training mostly. I will use this to demonstrate this rifle later because it does have some moving parts, even though it's a deactivated rifle.
Outside of the Soviet stuff, have you got any other factions? Maybe sort of American or British?
Yes, I have a few items from the US. Not much because it's very rare here. Of
Yeah.
course, in Eastern Europe, they didn't fight here, so only exported items are here. This is another very, let's say, this iconic piece of US militaria. This is an M-block clip for the Garand rifle, which is the main service rifle in Hell Let Loose as well for most classes. Of course, if you empty the gun, it makes the ping, even without the gun, which I think is very cool. Another item I have from the US is a magazine from the M1 carbine with one casing in it, which is actually a 5.56 casing, but I cut it down because I couldn't get a 30 carbine casing for it, but it fits. I actually had to kind of repair this because it was very beaten up and the follower that pushes up the rounds couldn't move. So I had to repair it, but now it works. From the British, of course, I have the iconic Brody helmet. I got this from a friend in Britain. I traded a few items with him. This one is dated 1941. Yeah. I don't think that will be visible, but I try to show on this part that holds the ring for the chin strap. There's a stamp saying 1941, has some original paint on it, and of course it can be seen in Hellet Blues as well for the British version. This is a bayonet for the British number 4 MK2 rifle, MK1. This was made by the US Savage factory, Savage company. They made a bunch of stuff for Britain when they didn't really have the capacity to make their own stuff, at least improve it. It's a pretty roughly made one, which is typical of Savage made items, but I think it is very cool, especially that alongside with US items, British items aren't really common here either. These are head insignias, like head badges. They
Amazing.
show what army branch the soldier is in. So this first one is Royal Navy. These are all World War II era. As far as I know, my friend gave it to me. The middle one is Air Force, Royal Air Force. This one is Royal Service Corps. I'm not sure what I think this is mostly like logistics, and this one is Service Corps as well, but this is for the Royal Indian Army.
I mean, it's really interesting you've got there. So obviously you're over based on the Eastern Front. Have you got any potential German items as well?
Yeah, I'm going to kick it off with another very iconic item, another clip, but for the German main service rifle, the Kar 98. This is, of course, known by the players of Atos as well. Actually, I can pull this out. This is just the projectile of the bullet. Pretty big, very nasty to get hit by.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's all original as well. The dates are still on the casings. Most are from 44, I think. I also have a lot of photos from Germany. They are just very common here, fortunately. One of my favorites, especially in this project, is this one because it's very rare to see machine gunners in photos. Of course, there were less of them in the army, and especially the MG34 that this guy is holding is more rare, as well as rarely depicted rather than the MG42. And I think this is very interesting because he looks very similar to the machine gunner model in the game. If you just put the side cap on in the game, you will just look like him. I actually use the side cap in game when I'm machine gunner just because of this photo. And this is actually a part from the MG34. It was very random that I found this on sale right after I got the photo. So I was like, yes, I need that. This will look great in display together. This is part of the bolt assembly. This is a good photo because it has text on the back, and it just really shows that these soldiers were people as well. They sent letters to their families. It just shows a different side. He was a Kriegsmarine soldier, so of course the German Navy. And on the back, it has like a Happy New Year wishing, probably for family. It has his name as well. I can't read the whole thing, but his surname was Carl. It's just very cool to see that part of history, that these are people as well. They're not just soldiers, especially German soldiers are often just depicted as basically a part of a machine. And it's important to see that in every part of history, people fought, not just soldiers.
I mean, especially with it being obviously the 80th anniversary of VE Day, this is going to be. It really shows what the human impact of this war has. That it was people fighting people, and seeing those pieces of history with people sending letters back to their parents and their families. It really shows what an impact that it really had.
This is another interesting photo. It's not really combat related or anything. These are soldiers on leave. They were probably injured in the war. They also have the wound badges, which are a kind of medal in Germany in both World Wars. They got it if they were injured in battle. This is a book that had personal information and such for soldiers. Yeah, it's interesting because some of these can tell a whole story because they have a lot of information like what kind of units they were in, from what date to what date, what kind of medals they got. It's very interesting. This guy was sent to a reserve unit in 1940 when he enlisted, and he stayed there for 3 years. And I don't know how and why, because he wasn't sent to any other unit. It's very interesting what happened. Maybe just bribed the officer so he wasn't sent to combat. I also got this, which is a dictionary given to Hungarian soldiers when they attacked the Soviet Union. It's, of course, Hungarian to Russian. It has a lot of phrases, of course, words as well. They aren't written in Russian or Cyrillic, but how you would pronounce it in Hungarian. So they could speak to civilians, like asking about where a bridge is on this river and similar. It's a very cool piece. I don't really collect Hungarian, but I had to take this. It's just really, really unique.
Well, I think that, I mean, it's an incredible collection that you've got there, but I think we do have to go to sort of the pièce de résistance, which obviously you've alluded to a little bit earlier on, and that is going to be the gun. I'll let you go into detail about this.
Yeah, I'm a big history and gun and WW2 nerd, so yeah. This is one of my newest additions to the collection, actually. This is a Finnish made or used Mosin Nagant rifle. Of course, the Finnish aren't in hell at loose, but this gun is, I think, still very recognizable for the players, since the Soviets use the same rifle in other configuration. Most of the parts for this rifle is still Imperial Russian made, actually, because the Finnish got hundreds and thousands of them after World War One. And this model was just refurbished, put together by the best condition parts. So it has it's a huge mix of factories. It has parts from Tula, Ijevsk, Sestoyevsk, Westinghouse, everything. It was really fun to research about this. It has like hundreds of stamps on it. It's very cool for me. But of course, it can be opened. It is deactivated because, of course, I'm in Europe. It's pretty hard to get live firearms here, especially in the World War II era ones. But it's still very cool in my opinion. It can be loaded up by the clip that I mentioned before, which can be a bit tricky sometimes with these kind of rifles, but mostly with the Soviet ones, they are more of Finnish Mosins are the best. They have the best reputation, I would say, among shooters and in the war as well. The coolest part in this particular rifle, though, is that it has initials carved into the stock by the soldiers who had this rifle. There is initials here, LAI or LAV. It's kind of hard to see, but it's very cool nonetheless. And on the other side, there's HS or SH if you want. And the stock is just beautiful, which is of course very typical of Finnish rifles because the type of wood they used has a very very cool texture and color, and when it's used for rifle stocks, it's very beautiful. It also has the stamp of the Finnish Civil Guard, which has like it wasn't part of the army at first, but then it was sent to the army. So it's just really cool because based on this number, I could actually find where it was stationed by the Civil Guard, and that is a city that still exists in Finland. It's Kokkola. I just love how much history I can find just based on the stamps on this rifle. And the interesting part is that since I'm left-handed, you would say that it's pretty hard to use for me, but no, it's actually just as easy to cycle the bullet left-handed, which couldn't really be said for many other bolt action rifles because of, for example, the Car 98 has the bolt handle turned down, which would be way harder for me to reach. But here I can do that very easily.
I mean, the amount of history that also just is in that rifle alone, with all the stamps and the initials. I mean, again, just sort of showing that sort of human side of the war, the fact that people were sort of personalizing their weapon, they were marking it as their own, there's so much history behind all of this. And I just want to say a huge thank you to yourself for coming on, showing off this collection that you've got and talking a little bit more about the history that you found in building this collection.
I think it's very important to look back to history and just reflect and just see the mistakes that others did, not repeat history.
Absolutely, I think that's a great way to finish this off. Reflect on what has happened and move forward in a better direction. Again, I'd like to thank you so much for being here today. I hope that everybody watching has really enjoyed looking through your collection, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day.